Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Mid-Speeds live class. We're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started with some common words. Ready? Although, advance, greatly, picture, friends, instant, haven't, wishes, asking, careful, point, hot, else, separate, acknowledge, building, placed, gentlemen, fall, working, president, form, personal, 100, instead, trip, board, item, regular, goes, miss, practice, including, folks, additional, late. All right, here are some sentences with different numbers. Ready? His phone number is 649-2386. Her address is 1112 Cole Street in Los Angeles. Our new phone number is 342-8573. Send this to her address at 72984 Market Street in Chicago, Illinois. Did you say her phone number is area code 760-875-5189? His phone number is 951-781-5130. The phone number to the general store is 676-7814. All right. Let's do some common phrases. Here we go. Which should, which the, which was, which were, which will, which would, which you believe, which you believed, which you feel, which you felt, which you have been, which you have had, which you know, which you recollect, which you recollected, which you remember, which you remembered, which you say, which you shall, which you should, which you understand, which you want, which you wanted, which you were, which you would, who believe, who believed, who believes, who can, who cannot, who could, who feel, who feels, who felt, who had, who have been, who have had, who have wanted, who he wanted, who he wants, who I want, who I wanted, who is, who recollect, who recollected, who recollects, who remember, who remembered, who remembers. All right. Let's do some double tangle words. Here we go. Ready? Electrical impulses, clandestine rendezvous, licensed auctioneer, bodily injury, questioned credibility, corrective lenses, exceptionally long-standing, correction inevitable, initial assessment, view-oriented homes, gracious entertaining, recreational vehicle, pot scrubber dishwashers, obsolete guardhouse, controversial reauthorization, future reconciliation, and luxurious oval tubs. All right. I've got some words here that all start with ill and m along with ear. Okay, here we go. Illegal, illegitimate, illegitimacy, illogically, illogical, illegible, illegally, illegality, illiteracy, illiterate, imbalance, immovable, immature, immaterial, impatient, imperfect, impersonal, immeasurable, immobile, immoderate, immodest, immoral, immortal, impersonal, impractical, imprecise, impure, impurity, irrational, irreplaceable, irreconcilable, irrepressible, irresistible, irrefutable, irregardless, irresponsible, irregular, irretrievable, irrelevant, irreversible, interact, intermix, interaction, intermural, interagency, international, interoffice, interplay, intercellular, interchange, intercollegiate, interplead, interconnect, interracial, interrelate, interconnect, interface, interfaith, interlace, interlocutor, interlocutory, intermarriage, intermediary, intermingle, interweave, interurban, intertwine, interstellar, interstate, intersect, interrelate, interracial. All right. There's more, but we're going to stop there. Finish those tomorrow. Now I've got some initial consonants that start with PL. Here we go. Ready? She used plastic plates and platters. The platform was not plated. A plateau was planned. Blood platelets are a plus. We looked at a plateful of plastic. A platinum blonde is pleasing. Platitudes are not pleasant. Ours was a platonic affair. Their platoon played with a platypus. The plaudits were not plausible. They pleaded to play in the plaza. He based his plea on the pleat. Plebes don't wear plaid pleats. A plebiscite by the plenary council was planned. Your pledge will plenish us. It was not only plenty, it was a plethora. The plumber plunged the plunger. You may act as my plenipotentiary. A plotter's plight is plumpness. Pleurisy affects the pleura. All right. Now I'm going to give you some briefs with sentences. I will read the briefs and then go back and read the sentences. And if you have any questions, just email me if you need to know a brief. These are pretty standard, so you probably already know these. But if there is anything you have a question about, just let me know. Okay, you're going to hear accident, above, accomplish, ago, American, among, and a half, NAF, anxious, apartment, appreciate, appreciation, approximate, approximately, approximation, at that time, at that point, at all times, at any time, at the same time, at the time, at this time, attorney, at what time, at which time, twit, automobile, bathroom, bedroom, beautiful, being, better, burst, certificate, children, cigarettes, continuation, conversation, cooperate. All right. Let's see here. Also, I want to give you a couple that aren't on here. At that, let's see, at that point. Oh yeah, at that point is on there, TAPT. And then if you guys want, you can phrase at that point in time, which is T long A-N-T. So you just change the ending to N-T, at that point in time. All right, here are your sentences. The bird sits high above the street. It was an accident. There is much to accomplish. When was the actual date? That was a long time ago. I am proud to be an American. They were among the proud. The cake needs a cup and a half of oil. I am feeling anxious. She just got an apartment. We really appreciate your help. The time has come to show appreciation. Be ready at the approximate hour. It is approximately 3 o'clock. My approximation is for Sunday. I need water at all times. She could need me at any time. At that point, the date was over. She was thinner at that time. He was not good at that. We both did laundry at the same time. It made sense at the time. We will adjourn at this time. I am no good at this. He is my attorney. At what time did he return? At which time did you leave? She is such a twit. He bought a new automobile. Where is the bathroom? I showed her my bedroom. Lynn is beautiful. It is nice being smart. Mom knows better than anyone. I am so happy I could burst. We are looking out for our certificate. I am not ready for children. I hate cigarettes. This is the continuation of the first book. We need to have a conversation. The witness could not cooperate. All right. Now I've got some Cal State locations along with UC locations. Here we go. California State University, Bakersfield. California State University, Chico. California State University, Dominguez Hills. California State University, East Bay. California State University, Fresno. California State University, Fullerton. Humboldt State University. California State University, Long Beach. California State University, Los Angeles. California Maritime Academy. California State University, Monterey Bay. California State University, Northridge. California State Polytech University, Pomona. California State University, Sacramento. California State University, San Bernardino. San Diego State University. San Francisco State University. San Jose State University. California Polytechnic State University, San Luis Obispo. California State University, San Marcos. Sonoma State University. And then UC locations: Berkeley, Davis, Irvine, Los Angeles, Merced, Riverside, San Diego, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz. All right. Let's go ahead and do some names and addresses. Here we go. Patricia I. Ware, W-A-R-E, Route 1, Box 152-4, Katy, Texas, 77449. Vertical File Librarian, Barrington Area Library, 505 Northwest Highway, Barrington, Illinois, 60110. Ms. Marion A. Milling, M-I-L-L-I-N-G, Ella Area Public Library, 135 South Bushing Road, Portland, Oregon, 96704. Milson Pace, P-A-C-E, Road 225, Colville, Utah, 84017. Ms. Charlene L. Moss, M-O-S-S, 107 Terra Drive, Bay, Arizona, 72412. Daniel R. Spina, S-P-I-N-A, 107 6th Street, Cresskill, New Jersey, 07626. Mr. Tyler B. Wolf, W-O-L-F, Coldwater High School, 310 North 2nd Street, Coldwater, Ohio, 45828. Karen J. Garrett, G-A-R-R-E-T-T, Route 4, Box 34, Folsom, Louisiana, 70431. Dorothy R. Burnett, B-U-R-N-E-T-T, 1740 Aspen Village Way, West Covina, California, 91791. Ms. Bonnie G. Shub, SHUBB, Jones, Day, Revis, and Pogue, 1735 I Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20006. Elaine S. Parker, Parker, 106 Tanglewood Drive, Jacksonville, North Carolina, 28540. Waterloo Community Schools, 1516 Washington Drive, Waterloo, Iowa, 50702. All right. I'm going to give you some medical words. Here we go. Ready? Fibrous, composed of or containing fibers. Ethmoid, cribriform, perforated with small apertures like a sieve. Frontal, pertaining to the forehead. Hyoid bone, a horseshoe-shaped bone situated at the base of the tongue just above the thyroid cartilage. Inferior, situated or directed below. Innominate bone, a bone which, with its fellow on the opposite side, forms the greater part of the pelvis, the hip bone. It consists of the ilium, the ischium, and the os pubis. Inorganic, not of organic origin. Lacrimal bone, a thin scale-like bone at the anterior and upper part of the orbit, articulating with the frontal, the ethmoid, and the superior maxillary bones. Laryngeal, of or pertaining to the larynx, the organ of the voice. Malar, pertaining to the cheek. Marrow, soft tissues which fill the cavities of most bones. Mastication, the chewing of food. Mastoid, nipple-shaped, the mastoid process of the temporal bone, sometimes called the mastoid bone. Maxilla, the irregular-shaped bone forming with its fellow the upper jaw. Meatus, a passage or opening. And medullary, pertaining to the marrow or to any medulla or marrow. All right, we'll stop there. You may want to go in after class and add those to your dictionary. I'm going to read you a poem that I've read in the lower and the higher speeds. It's called Sick. And even if you've heard it, it's okay. It's great practice. I have not read it yet in the mid speed, so I wanted to read it to you guys because poems are great practice. All right, here we go. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut. My eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched. My ankles sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold. My toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff. My voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbows bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail and my heart is what? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye. I'm going out to play. All right. Now I've got a paragraph here on literary terms, literary legal terms. Okay, in paragraph form. Here we go. A bailiff is an officer who maintains order in the courtroom. Bench refers to judges and to where a judge sits in court. A bench conference is a meeting of lawyers and judges at a trial outside of the hearing of the jury. Bias is prejudice. Burden of proof is the legal duty to provide a disputed fact. Chambers refers to the judge's office. Circumstantial evidence is indirect evidence. A clerk is a court employee who is in charge of the records and files. Closing arguments are statements made by an attorney near the end of a trial to persuade the jury to decide in his or her client's favor. Colloquy is discussion. All right. Now let's do some literary. Actually, these are plaintiff closing arguments. So you're going to hear some legal terms, but for the most part, it's more, it's closing arguments. You're going to hear regular, regular vocabulary, I should say. All right, but it is closing arguments. Here we go. I'm going to start at 120 and I will work my way to 160. Okay, here we go. Now, on the direct examination of Mr. Meso, we went into a lengthy questioning session. We took him all the way back to the past 20 years of his employment. We showed how he started out as an apprentice electrician. Before that, a laborer, how he was in the service, how he did heavy labor, and skilled type labor, which required him to use his arms above his head. We did that, ladies and gentlemen, for a purpose, not only to show what I consider to be a very credible history of a fine gentleman in the true American tradition, but we did that, ladies and gentlemen, for the purpose of showing that Mr. Meso was working with that arm and doing heavy work, pain-free, without any limitations, putting in many, many hours of overtime work. Ladies and gentlemen, there is not one iota of evidence that Mr. Meso had pain in that shoulder or in the neck before the injury in this case. So we suggest, in accordance with my comments a little earlier about what to do when there is an inconsistency or contradiction, we suggest that when a physician renders an opinion but gives no basis, in fact, for that opinion, and furthermore, where there is no basis in the record for that opinion, that opinion does not deserve recognition. Dr. Connor, in this regard again, he was called as an expert at the last moment. The plaintiff was claiming an injury to the cervical spine in the cervical spine. Let's face it, what is bothering this gentleman are not x-ray findings. Yes, there were x-ray findings on the shoulder. He got along very well with that arm through the years. It is the pain that has resulted from the injury of this case. It is the pain that keeps him up at night, that causes him to go into traction, that limits him in his physical activities at home and on the job, pain in the neck radiating outward, numbness in the hand. So when this gentleman is sent to an expert for the purpose of giving an opinion and analysis of what extent he was injured in that accident and what extent of claims of neck injury and neck pain are valid, naturally, you would expect a physician to give an opinion about his neck pain. Dr. Connor testified that he was not giving any opinion about Mr. Meso's neck pain. He did not have any opinion. The test that Dr. Connor took is entirely consistent. That was an objective test that was done by way of needles, and I'm not going to go through the manner that the test was done. We all heard comments about it a few times in this exact trial, but the point is that Mr. Meso not only demonstrated atrophy of the shoulder girdle muscles on a visual inspection, but in addition, the test that Dr. Connor took was absolutely positive. Dr. Connor testified that there was a severe nerve damage. On cross-examination, he located the origin of the nerves that were damaged. Where were they at? Do you recall his answer? At C5. I said C5. C5, of course, refers to the cervical spine, a nerve root in the cervical spine. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the medical testimony that you heard does not establish the burden that Mr. Meso had to meet with reference to what took place anatomically at the time of the accident, extent of his injuries, the need for treatment, his disability from work, his need for future treatments, and ongoing disability. Now, at this time, I would like to undertake a discussion of the value of the damages Mr. Meso suffered. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with some Q&A. Start off with a little bit more of an easy transcript and then move our way into a more difficult one. And looks like Plaintiff is going to start out. Here we go. Ready? All right, go ahead. I think I had the kids about a month, and then I started getting the shots and stuff like that. All right, In the event that the possibility that Lauren and Evan are released to you, and if upon their release, if in fact you had the same type of problems with the mother that you previously had, what would you do different, if anything? I would take up more time with Lisa now, and things would be done a lot different. You know, I would have more patience with Lisa because I already know that she were young. But at the time, I feel like I made a mistake. I'm not only faulting Lisa, I made a mistake of giving those kids up too soon, and that won't happen no more. And I get along with Lisa now. I can get along with Lisa. That's not no problem. However, if in the event that you could not get along with Lisa, would you ask the social worker for assistance in making different arrangements for visitation? Yes, I would. No further questions. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Can I ask just a few more? Go ahead. When you would ask the social worker to come and get the children after they had been living with you, do you remember also telling the social worker that you had not followed up with several of Lauren's asthma appointments? I don't remember telling her that because I kept every appointment that I had. I'm not talking about immunization appointments now. No, you talking about the asthma, right? Yes, I don't remember telling her that. I might have. I don't remember because I never missed. I never missed any of the appointments. And since you have been having the overnight visits, do you normally pick up the kids or do the foster parents bring them to you? No, the foster parents bring them to me. Every time? Every time. Do you have any difficulty as far as transportation? No, I don't. So they've been pretty cooperative as far as bringing the kids to you? Yes, they have. And you understand that the children are to be in regular individual counseling, right? Yes. Would you have any problem in making sure that they get to their counseling appointments, which may be every week? No, I do not. And you say that your relationship with the mother is better now, but you really haven't had much contact with her since the children were moved from your home, right? No. That's no, you haven't? I haven't had contact until I started coming here to court. Okay, continue, counsel. So you don't know whether her attitude has changed or not? What are you saying? Well, I'm saying that it has changed a lot. You know, she has changed a lot for the better. You know, her anger. Her anger is not as bad. How do you know that? From talking to her. How many times have you talked to her recently? Every time I come here, we go to lunch. We talk. And I takes her and drop her off. I don't know where she live, but I've been dropping her off, you know, wherever she wanted to be dropped off. That's where I drop her off. And how many times have you seen her recently, would you say? Just here? Yes, how many times is that? I guess it's about 4 or 5 times. 4 times? Uh-huh. And do you know how long a time you see her? It's been just about all day here in court. And so in those 4 times, you've been able to come to the opinion that her attitude has changed. She's changed, yeah. And during the time that you've been with her, have you discussed the possibilities of your testifying in court? No. You never discussed that with her at all? No. She hasn't told you what she'd like for you to say on her behalf? Oh, no. Have you discussed your testimony with your son? No. Have you discussed your testimony with anyone? No. I have nothing further. Counsel? Yes, thank you. In the event that the children are returned to their mother, are you available to provide daycare for the mother if she goes to school or works? Yes, And if anything came to your attention that you believe that the children were not being taken care of, were not being well cared for by the mother, would you be willing to report that to the social worker? Yes, I will. No further questions. Mr. Jandra? No questions, Your Honor. Mr. Cundy? At the time that Lauren and Evan were placed in your care, were you told by the social worker to take them in to the doctor for medical immunizations and treatments? No, I've done all that on my own. No further questions. Ms. Maloof, would you have any reason to not believe the children if they again said to you that their mom had done something to them? Can you say that again, please? If the children, let's say the children were returned to their mother and they brought to your attention that she hit or something had happened wrong, do you think that you would be able to believe them? I would check into it, yes. I wouldn't just shine it on, you know. But you didn't check into it when the previous statements were made, right? No, I didn't. Asked and answered, Your Honor. I have nothing further. Counsel? Nothing. Mr. Jandra? Nothing. Mr. Cundy? Nothing further. Ms. Smith, thank you very kindly for answering these questions. You are now excused as a witness. All right, let's just do a little bit more. Go to a little bit more difficult transcript. Okay. All right. And looks like defense is questioning. Here we go. I'm going to pick up right at 160 where we left off. Did anybody call out to you for help, like, help me out here? No, nothing like that? Okay. Do you remember the first time you talked to the police officer? You talked to police officers 2 different times, right? Actually, yeah, I talked once with the police officers, and the second time I was with the detective. A detective? Yeah. Was it this detective sitting at the table? Yes. Now, the first time you told the police officer who came to your house, you told them that you didn't know. Actually, hang on. You told them that you could not even see the faces of anybody who came into your house? Yes, I did. You told them they were wearing black ski masks? No, I didn't tell them that. You don't remember saying that the suspects were both wearing black ski masks with only the eye holes cut out? I didn't say that. You didn't say that? No. Okay, and you didn't say that the suspects, both males, were talking in English and in Spanish? You didn't say that either? No, they were. When they were talking, they were, like only English, but like with a thick voice on them, like, you know, how gangsters talk between them like that. Okay, when you say thick voice, do you mean a thick accent? Yeah, sorry, go ahead. And then do you remember telling the officer that you had used marijuana that day? I don't remember about that part. Were you under the influence of marijuana on that day? No. That officer asked you if you owed any money to anyone regarding drug sales? Yes, he did ask me that, and I told him straight out, I don't. You told him whenever you buy marijuana, you always pay for it? Yes, because objection relevance sustained. Is there a motion to strike that? Yes, there is. It is stricken. I have nothing further. Counsel, do you remember telling that officer that the suspects were wearing gloves? Yes. Was that true or not? Yes, on that part, yes. They were. You just don't remember anything about ski masks? No. Now I want to move on. You talked to the detective a few days later after you talked to the first police officer, right? Yes, the detective. I think it was the same time when I talked to him. I think. I'm not sure. Now, when you talked to the detective, you didn't mention anything about gloves to the detective, correct? I don't think I did. And you didn't mention anything about a ski mask to the detective? Yeah, on that part, yeah. You did mention ski masks? No, I told him no, they didn't wear. Sorry. And even asked me, do you owe them money? Tell me the truth. And I told him the truth, what was going on. So I told him, I told him the truth. Did you tell the first officer? Are you saying that you then lied to the first officer? Yes, I did. You did. The only reason why I did that is because I was scared that something might happen. That's when I told the detective that they said that they would come back if I say something, that they were going to kill me or do something to my family. That's why I didn't say nothing. Even though you had that threat that you said, you still called the police on that very same day, didn't you? Yes, I did. And you're sure it was in December, not November 29th? I don't think that was that day. Nothing further. Counsel, directing your attention back to the first interview that you had with Officer Ross, isn't it true that you told Officer Ross that there were two suspects that broke into the house and robbed you? Did you tell him that? Yes, I did. And you indicated at the time that that happened, you were playing video games in your front room of the house when that happened, right? Yes. And you didn't tell him at that time that there were two other subjects with you? Actually, I did tell him that there were two other people with me. On the occasion, on the first interview, you told Officer Ramos on the first interview with him that you were in the living room playing games and that Mr. Santana, his cousin, was there. You told Officer Ross that? Yes. Objection compound. Yes, it is compound and complex, and you can't all speak at one time. I'll try again, Your Honor, directing your attention to the first interview that you had with regard to this incident, and that was with Officer Ross. Did you tell him that Mr. Santana and his cousin was present at the first interview? I think I did, but you're not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, did you tell him that ultimately you ended up on the ground and the altercation with those individuals, with who? Someone who came into the door, you've testified, attacked you. Did you end up on the ground after the attack? Yes, I did. And were your hands zip tied by one of the individuals, one of the male individuals? Yes, that came. And after your hands were zip tied, were you laying on your stomach with your face facing the ground? Yes. And if I understood your testimony correctly, you said that they took some type of cloth that's used to tie up curtains to blindfold you. Is that an accurate description? Yes, but what they took, it was you could see through it. Okay, but they did wrap it around your eyes. Yeah, but I still got a chance to see through. You could see through it. Did that affect your vision in any way? No. So it was thin material? Yeah. That you could look through? Yeah. And did you tell Officer Ross that it happened in the first interview that you had with the police? That what happened? Did you tell Officer Ross that a cloth was wrapped around your eyes while you were laying on the ground? Did you tell him that? I think I did. Objection relevance. Your Honor, I have a right to test his memory and his recollection. It's hard to say if I did or not. Hold on, the judge has to rule. Overruled. Now, at the end of this first interview, Officer Ross asked you whether or not you had used any drugs, correct? Objection relevance. Well, whether or not he used drugs is relevant. You agree with me on that? I didn't use drugs at that time, or that's it. I'll withdraw my objection. Just so it's clear, someone's ability to perceive and recall events accurately can be affected by the use of drugs. So whether someone was using drugs or alcohol or something is relevant for that purpose. So the objection is overruled. The answer has come in. Go ahead, Mr. Schultz. Ask another question. All right, so let's do some read back. Hello, Olivia. All right, so we'll do a little bit of read back. I'm going to start at 160, then 140. Last time we'll be at 120. Okay, all right. And this is plaintiff attorney. Here we go. All right. And did you put some more bullets in it? I put some more bullets in it. When you gave this gun to Macy Warner, how many bullets were in it? There were as many bullets in it as the gun holds, probably 6. Then you drove away from there, is that right? I drove away and went to El Torito, yeah. Did you go to El Torito or go to Mr. Holden's? I went to El Torito first. I stayed a few minutes talking to my friend, and then I stayed with him about 5 minutes. Then I drove over to Madison Street and took his car to him. Can you tell us what time it was when you drove to Madison Street to deliver the car? All I know is what time it was when I left. What time was it when you left? Well, when the old man called me, he told me it was 6:30. I says, I was supposed to have the car back at 5 o'clock, and I don't have the car back. Then you left at 6:30. Is that correct? That's right. It was somewhere along in there. I don't know what time it was. All I know is that it was about that time. All right. When your car was parked on the gas station lot, you spoke to Steve Strong and to Macy Warner. Is that right? That's right. Can you tell us about how much time was used up while you spoke to Steve Strong and Macy Warner? Does he mean altogether? Yes. Well, I would say maybe about 10, 15 minutes. All right. I don't know for sure. Would it be fair to say that at about 6:45, you drove away from that gas station? Well, I don't know. Maybe somewhere along there. All right. And you went straight to El Torito from that gas station, is that right? That's right. Did it take you more than 2 or 3 minutes to drive to El Torito? I don't think that it took me that long. It was just a couple of blocks down Wilmington, isn't it? About 4 or 5 blocks down there, yeah. And you only spent a couple of minutes in El Torito? I only spent about 5 minutes, like I said. All right, so we'll do it again at 140. Okay, here we go. All right, and did you put some more bullets in it? I put some more bullets in it. When you gave this gun to Macy Warner, how many bullets were in it? There were as many bullets in it as the gun holds, probably 6. Then you drove away from there, is that right? I drove away and went to El Torito, yeah. Did you go to El Torito or go to Mr. Holden's? I went to El Torito first. I stayed a few minutes talking to my friend, and then I stayed with him about 5 minutes. Then I drove over to Madison Street and took his car to him. Can you tell us what time it was when you drove to Madison Street to deliver the car? All I know is what time it was when I left. What time was it when you left? Well, when the old man called me, he told me it was 6:30. He says, I was supposed to have the car back at 5 o'clock, and I don't have the car back. Then you left at 6:30, is that correct? That's right. It was somewhere along in there. I don't know what time it was, but then you left at 6:30. Is that correct? That's right. It was somewhere along in there. I don't know what time it was. All I know is that it was about that time. All right. When your car was parked on the gas station lot, you spoke to Steve Strong and Macy Warner. Is that right? That's right. Can you tell us about how much time was used up while you spoke to Steve Strong and Macy Warner? Do you mean all together? Yes. Well, I would say maybe about 10, 15 minutes. All right. I don't know for sure. Would it be fair to say that at about 6:45, you drove away from the gas station? Well, I don't know. Maybe somewhere along there. All right. And you went straight to El Torito from that gas station. Is that right? That's right. Did it take you more than 2 or 3 minutes to drive to El Torito? I don't think that it took me that long. It was just a couple of blocks down Wilmington, isn't it? About 4 or 5 blocks down there, yeah. And you only spent a couple of minutes in El Torito? I only spent about 5 minutes, like I said. So I accidentally repeated a line, so I made a little note here. I'll have to make a note of that on the 140 take. Yeah. Okay. I know I noticed when I was starting to read the question, it was like, oh no, that's the answer. Ah. All right, let's do it again now. 120. Here we go. All right. And did you put some more bullets in it? I put some more bullets in it. When you gave this gun to Macy Warner, how many bullets were in it? There were as many bullets in it as the gun holds, probably 6. Then you drove away from there, is that right? I drove away and went to El Torito, yeah. Did you go to El Torito or go to Mr. Holden's? I went to El Torito first. I stayed a few minutes talking to my friend, And then I stayed with him about 5 minutes. Then I drove over to Madison Street and took his car to him. Can you tell us what time it was when you drove to Madison Street to deliver the car? All I know is what time it was when I left. What time was it when you left? Well, when the old man called me, he told me it was 6:30. I says I was supposed to have the car back at 5 o'clock, and I don't have the car back. Then you left at 6:30. Is that correct? That's right. It was somewhere along in there. I don't know what time it was. All I know is that it was about that time. All right. When your car was parked on the gas station lot, you spoke to Steve Strong and to Macy Warner. Is that right? That's right. Can you tell us about how much time was used up while you spoke to Steve Strong and Macy Warner? Do you mean all together? Yes. Well, I would say maybe about 10, 15 minutes. All right. I don't know for sure. Would it be fair to say that at about 6:45, you drove away from that gas station? Well, I don't know. Maybe somewhere along there. All right. And you went straight to El Torito from that gas station. Is that right? That's right. Did it take you more than 2 or 3 minutes to drive to El Torito? I don't think that it took me that long. It was just a couple of blocks down Wilmington, isn't it? About 4 or 5 blocks down there, yeah. And you only spent a couple of minutes in El Torito? I only spent about 5 minutes, like I said. All right. Just let me know when you find your spot.
Okay, I found the 140. I'm going to read that one.
You're going to read the 140. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I can start it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, question. All right. And did you put some more bullets in it? Answer, I put some more bullets in it.
Perfect. Question. When you gave this gun to Macy Warner, how many bullets were in it? Answer. There were as many bullets in it as the gun holds. Probably 6.
Question. Then you drove away from there. Is that right? Answer, I drove away. Let me see. I drove away. What? No, hold on. I drove away. I drove away, but went to El Torito.
Now, do you have and? I drove away and went?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have a PW. And I guess I was trying to do SKP.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Probably okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end, do you have yeah?
Yeah, I do. El Torito, yeah. Yes.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Question. Did you go to El Torito or go to Mr. Holden's? Answer. I went to El Torito first. I stayed a few minutes talking to my friend. And then I stayed with him about 5 minutes. Then I drove over to Madison Street and took his car to him.
Question. Can you tell us what time it was when you drove to Madison Street to deliver the car. Answer, all I know is what time it was when I left.
Perfect. Question, what time was it when you left? Answer, well, when the old man called me, he told me it was 6:30. I says I was supposed to have the car back at 5 o'clock, and I don't have the car back.
Question, then you left at 6:30. Is that correct? Answer, that is right.
Do you have that's right?
No, I have that is.
Okay. But
Yeah.
but this is kind of where I screwed up. So I probably said that is.
Okay.
Now, is this where you have the question?
Yeah, I have a question. It was sometime around along in there.
Okay, somewhere along in there.
Yeah, in there.
Okay.
And then I have the answer. I don't know what time it was.
Thank you, because that is exactly where I accidentally hit the sign change. I was like, oh no, wait, I wasn't supposed to do that. So good. Thank you for helping me.
Uh-huh.
And then does it continue?
Okay.
The answers.
Okay, then but I left at 6. But let me see what it is. Okay, where is it? Is that right? Around in there. I don't know what time it was. All I know is that I was.
Do you have it was? All I know is that it was.
That it was. All I know that it was about that time.
Good. Perfect.
And then then it's the question. All right. And all right. When your car was parked on the gas station lot, you spoke with Steve Strong and Macy Warner. Is that right? Answer, that is right.
Good. Now, do you have two?
Yes.
You spoke to Steve Strong and to Macy Warner?
No, I
No?
don't have two.
Okay, that's
some
okay.
of my issue. Yeah, that's some of my issue with the small words.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's okay, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you know.
Yeah.
All right, question. Can you tell us about how much time was used up while you spoke to Steve Strong and Macy Warner? Answer. Now, it's supposed to say, do you mean all together? But one of the times I said does, and then I said, do you mean all together?
Yeah, that's what I have. Do you
Okay.
mean? Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Question, yes. Answer, well, I would say maybe about 10, 15 minutes.
Perfect. Question, all right. Answer, I don't know for sure.
Question, would it be fair to say that at about 6:45, you drove away from the gas station? Answer, well, I don't know, maybe somewhere along there.
Perfect. Question, all right. And you went straight to El Torito from that gas station. Is that right? Answer, that's right.
Question, did it take you more than 2 to 3 minutes to drive to El Torito?
You have or? To or?
No.
No, to? Okay.
Okay. And then answer, I don't think that it took me that long.
Very good. Question, it was just a couple of blocks down Wilmington, isn't it? Answer, about 4 or 5 blocks down there, yeah.
Question, and you only spent a couple of minutes at El Torito? Then answer, I only spent about 5 minutes, like I said.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome job.
Okay.
Oh, I'm still working on I'm making copies of that. So
Okay.
I will have it to you by Thursday.
Okay. I was going to email you the test. Did you hear about the results came out today?
No.
It's on the board website. Out of 121 people, 15 people passed. A 12% pass rate.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, something. Going through mine, and mine was. I'm going through and I'm writing down these words. It's just small words. I'm just trying to get a consensus. But it's that many people. I mean, that's something. Something's. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't get it, because our industry needs the reporters out there. So why are they giving tests like that?
like that. Yeah. It was. There were. It was 12.2%, something like that. The pass rate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not even 20%.
No. No. So I did scan it. I'm going to email it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
So, I'll email it to you. So, but it's
wow.
crazy. Yeah.
The only good thing about that is sometimes when they give a really hard test like that, then people get upset. Then the next time they usually make it good.
Good one. Yeah. So that's the thing. You know what? That's the thing you got to work on. You got to really work hard, even in those bad ones, because when you work hard and you figure out your mistakes and you see, and I'm listening, going through like this. That's why I did the 140, forcing myself to hear those small words, and those are the mistakes. So if I work through it, through practice time, it just makes it, makes it better. So
absolutely, because it is. Sometimes it's just the little words.
Yeah.
And once you get all those little words, then it's going to make a huge
exact difference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they posted it today. So
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
12%.
Yeah, 12%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah.
How many people from your school went?
There was one first timer. And I think there were 3. How many? There's like 4 or 5 of us been trying to pass this test. So no. From tri-community there was no one. So you say one first timer and maybe 4 or 5 repeats. Downey, I think they had like 20 something people, no passes. I think Brian, who usually has pretty whatever, they had 1, I think it was. So they really break it down to see, there were 2 or 3, I think, passed from the RPR route.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, they had passed through the RPR, and I think there was 1 out of state person, but it was a total of 15 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about South Coast? Did South Coast have any?
Oh, you know what? I printed it out, and I can't remember because I printed it out and left it at work. How many they had. So because the people are still taking it, that even though they closed, people are still taking it. But I don't know if they had anyone. If it was 1, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on the making copies of that so I can scan them to you.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. And email me your test and I'll look it over too.
Okay. All righty. Okay.
Have a good night.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.